Okay, let's take a look at all the different types of numbers that's in what's called the complex number system. And we'll come back in just a second and talk about what an actual complex number is. Well, first off, inside of this complex number system, you have either real numbers or imaginary numbers. Real numbers is the numbers, pretty much any number you can think of that you've dealt with up to high school level in math. Imaginary numbers example is any square root that's negative. Square root of a negative 16, the square root of negative 3, square root of negative 4, that's all your imaginary numbers. So anything else is going to fall inside that real category. And by the way, imaginary numbers like the square root of negative 16, we denote with an I, and that I does stand for imaginary. So a complex, going back up to here, complex is actually a mixture of a real number with an imaginary. So if you have a real and imaginary mix, that's complex. Now numbers can be either real or imaginary. It's called pure real or pure imaginary inside of it. Now, dealing with real numbers now, all real numbers are either rational or irrational. What I'd like for you to know is the word irrational means crazy. Any decimal that is just a crazy decimal like pi, we know that pi is a number that goes on forever. It doesn't terminate. There's no pattern to it. The most famous irrational number there is, E, is probably the second most famous irrational number, 2.718. It's dealt with a lot like pi. And then any square root that you don't know is also an irrational number. So if it doesn't fall into that category, if it's not one of the crazy numbers, then it's rational. Now, inside of rational, which again, by the way, rational includes all fractions, any repeating decimals, and any whole numbers, like 3, negative 5, integers, all those are included in rationals. Now, inside of rationals, some of your rational numbers will be integers, which I just mentioned. Your integers are your positive, negative, whole numbers, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2, and it goes on and on forever from there. And then inside of integers, we have what we call the whole numbers. The whole numbers start at 0. They do not include fractions and decimals, and they go on forever. And then you have what's called either the natural numbers, or you can call them the counting numbers, and they start with 1. And it's all those numbers that you learn when you're in elementary school, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. And that's all your different number types.